It's a gathering of friends to catch up over coffee and cake. But also a chance to blow Bridget Brady's fruit scones out of the water with my lemon drizzle.
Will you make my birthday cake for my party?
Is it your birthday soon?
You know it is.
I'd be thrilled to make you a cake.
Thanks. I'll go and get my sketches. Hi, Mum.
All right, Papa. We expecting royalty?
No, just some friends.
Friends? What friends?
The talk of the street.
Talk of the street.
The talk of the street.
Talk of the street.
The talk of the street.
Talk of the street.
The talk of the street.
Talk of the street.
Welcome to episode 404 of The Talk of the Street, an unofficial Coronation Street catch-up podcast that enjoyed Corrie so much this week that I can just about forgive the CGI smoke and Swain channeling her inner Gail. I'm Gavin.
And my right kidney is 3 inches taller than my left kidney.
Taller? That means it gets to go on the big rides.
Yes.
Good stuff.
3 inches, that feels like a lot for a body part.
Well,
It's like 13.5 inches, and the left one is 10.2 inches.
a kidney's like a foot.
Yeah.
See, I think a kidney's in terms of what you see in a pie.
Right, yes, which are not human kidneys, hopefully.
Hopefully not. I had no idea that kidneys were that sizable.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're thinner, so they're like a foot tall, but then like the width is less. But my right kidney is wider than my left kidney as well, so that's fun.
Huh? Does this mean anything?
Maybe.
Oh.
This is another portal conversation.
Oh, I thought we were done with portals. How are you this week, apart from your lopsided kidneyness?
Hey, I'm impressed that I had an ultrasound this morning and I've already gotten the results this afternoon.
Yeah, you're paying for it.
That's pretty impressive, considering that the Eaton Rapids ones, it takes like 2 weeks. So, anyway, yeah, apart from that, pretty good. I found a really cool thing today.
What?
I found a picture of my boss's aunt shaking hands with Bobby Kennedy.
Oh.
That's pretty cool. That means I'm like 1 degree of separation from Bobby Kennedy.
I mean, you're 3 degrees separated from Bobby Kennedy.
Well, it's just
Your boss to your aunt to Bobby Kennedy.
Well, I know Nancy, his aunt, because she comes to the shop all the time.
Two
so.
then.
Me, Nancy, Bobby.
Uh-huh.
It's like one person in between the two of us.
That's how you measure degrees of separation.
It should be.
Sadly, it isn't. If you want to start your own 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon and call it 6 degrees of Helen Broom, then by all means.
I believe that I am closer to Bobby Kennedy than Kevin Bacon now. Because Kevin Bacon, it's like, it's not even worth getting into right now. But there's a couple of jumps to Kevin Bacon, but only 1 for Bobby Kennedy, which means 2 for
3
for John F. Kennedy.
Mm-hmm.
She's also like, I texted my boss about this and he's like, oh yeah, here's a picture of her with Bill Clinton. Here's a picture of her with Obama. Here's a picture.
She's killed them all. That would explain the assassin uniform. How does she know all these people?
She used to work in politics and stuff.
Oh.
It's so funny because she's so wee. She reminds me of your mum.
I knew you were going to say that. My mum didn't know any of the Kennedys, and she wouldn't have spoken to them if she did.
Yeah, see, there she is with Bobby.
36 people. Oh, she is tiny.
Yes. And then...
Or is he very tall?
Then here she is with Obama.
That's a good picture.
It is a good picture. She's delightful. Anyway. So that's been fun.
So, dear readers, our call this week is, how many degrees of separation are you from a former president of the United States or prime minister? But the way that we're counting it is from you to someone, and then from someone to someone else is 2. That's the way we're counting it.
See, that doesn't make any sense to me. Because then 1 degree of separation would just be you to one other person. And that doesn't make sense because there's no separation. It's just you and another person.
But you're separate people. And I think that's a separation.
That does not make sense to me.
Well, I don't make up the rules. I just enforce them.
How are you?
It's been such a stressful week. And it's been such a long week.
It has. We have water in the basement. Not a lot, but enough to be annoying. I keep going down and squeegeeing the floor every couple of hours just to try to get some of it out. Had to throw a whole bunch of stuff away.
I think we're dry for the next few days, so maybe that'll
Fingers crossed.
That'll help.
Apparently the parks in town, the island park is closed because of the flooding. So
It's how seamlessly we're talking about me just for a split second.
and then we're talking about flooding in your basement. It's your basement just as much as it's my basement. I mean, I'm the only one down there squeegeeing, but that's fine.
Mm-hmm. I'm at work. I'm earning the big bucks. That afford the squeegee.
I think the squeegee came with the house.
Probably. All right, shall we preamble, my dear?
Yes, please.
Give us some of that saturated. I think I've used saturated already. Doesn't matter. Corrie News.
But drowned. Soggy.
Soggy Corrie News.
Soggy Cranes. Former Corrie residents Alex Bain and Stephen Arnold joined forces on TikTok this week to raise money for a refurbishment of St. Mary's Church in Greensboro. It's like a fancy greasy hot dog or hamburger. You don't want a greasy hot dog. That's one form of meat you don't want greasy.
Let's drag this kicking and screaming back to Stephen Arnold and Alex Bain, shall we?
Yes. Is it weird that they're friends and they hang out?
Oh, do they?
Well, they made this TikTok together and they seemed rather chummy.
Well, I don't know if that means anything. They're separated by quite a large age gap, I would have said.
Yes. Yes.
But that doesn't mean to say that they can't be friends.
Right, yes. Like I said, I'm friends with Nancy and she's like in her 70s. So.
Very good. I saw that. It took me a little while to recognise Stephen Arnold, but Alex Bain just doesn't change.
Our Ashley the Butcher.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
His wee squeaky voice. Have you heard his wee squeaky voice?
Well, yes, because I watched the TikTok. Moving on.
Let's move on.
You may have noticed a lot of purple being worn on Wednesday's episode.
I did not.
No, it's not in honor of Prince. It is the universal ribbon color for domestic abuse awareness. So you know how pink is breast cancer awareness and the puzzle is autism awareness. So purple is the domestic abuse awareness
I didn't
color.
know that. Did you know that?
I did. I didn't really notice a lot of the purple.
I didn't either.
Todd's shirt, to me, is not purple. It's more maroon.
I wasn't really paying attention to the colours. I think...
But Tyrone was wearing a very purple hoodie. You couldn't miss Tyrone's hoodie. And then Lauren was wearing a purple halter top thing.
If this is an awareness, I think it's probably raising awareness of the fact that that's what the purple signifies.
Yeah.
Unless this is a super well-known thing and it's just me that doesn't know about it, which is quite possible.
Yeah. I probably knew it in the back of my recesses because, you know, I used to have like a chart of what all the different ribbon colors meant. But yellow is for prostate cancer?
I thought
like
that
the-
was if you were in jail for murder.
No, tie a yellow ribbon around the old oak tree is about soldiers out to war, not in
We've
prison.
had this argument before.
Have we?
Yep, let's move on.
Is there like two different versions?
Let's move on.
Is this like you calling it the animals go marching in and me the ants go marching one by one? Hurrah, hurrah! The other day at the concert.
Yep,
Yeah.
let's
Keep going.
Let's just move on.
And finally, welcome to Cindy Humphrey, who will be joining the cast as Will and Ollie's mum. Stay tuned for her next week.
Fantastic.
Yes. That'll be fun. Her name is Melanie. So now we have Melanie, Maggie, and Megan all tied up with the Driscoll storylines.
If you're
Too
not an
many
M and a
M's.
J, nobody wants to know about it.
Nope.
We had a Mal as well.
We technically, I guess we still have a
A Mal
Mel.
and a Mel.
Mel? Who's Mel?
Melanie.
I don't think she goes by Mel. I think she goes by Melanie. She seems like a very serious person. And that's Corrie News.
Somebody will call her Mel before the week is out.
And will get punched in the
And
face.
that was me. I'm glad that she's shown up because it's the sort of thing that we complain about quite frequently when significant members of a family don't turn up for their significant others'
Right.
trials and trauma and tribulation. And,
Yeah.
and here we are.
It's
righting
like,
that wrong. And I've got a feeling she's not going to be taking any shit from Maggie.
No. Yeah, it's like it's like you'd expect Eileen to be on the very next plane from Thailand if she heard that Todd had jam all over his face.
Yeah. Well, that was Corrie News, did you say?
That is Corrie News.
That is Corrie News. And we will move on to I'm going to say, fairly limerick-free feedback section that I like to call Everyone's a Critic. Jen says, I defo think Danielle has beaten Theo in the past, and I would never tire of beating either of them, by the way. Danielle and Theo are equally vile.
Yes.
I had to think about
I had to think about it for a second.
How vile is Danielle?
How do we measure this?
She's pretty vile.
She is.
But she calls Sarah a slag, and that goes a long way.
And she hasn't punched Todd yet.
Well, Shema then writes, I hope you're both well and your inclement weather has cheered up a bit. It has. It's quite warm today. One of your correspondents in the most recent flagship was talking about indoctrinating their child into the world of Corrie, which reminded me that when my kids were very young, too young to have a real concept of units of time, we used to measure long journeys, of which we had many living 200 miles from both sets of grandparents, in Coronation Streets. So they would ask, how long till we get there? And we would answer, about 3 Coronation Streets. And it worked a treat. They have both turned out okay and can tell the time conventionally, so I don't think we caused any lasting damage.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Shema.
Yes, that sounds an awful lot like my childhood, where I had one set of grandparents in Montana and the other one in Florida. So
That's quite a few Coronation Streets.
that's quite a few Coronation Streets. You could nearly get through a whole season.
Whether we're talking about 44 minutes or 22 minutes, either way, that's a huge number of Coronation Streets.
A lot of episodes.
I lived with my grandparents for some time.
Yes, because your grandma scrubbed your bum in front of the TV.
And I fed you that line just so you would bite.
And I did.
And you did without hesitation.
Because it's delightful.
Which brings us on to Ian Les Paul, who invites us this week, with no limericks, invites us to enjoy Broom the Musical. You can hear his wee foot tapping.
Yes.
From a long lost Scot sitting in a room, a tin bath by a fire sings a wee broom. Only love will tear us apart, oh wee hen. There's only love can tear us apart, oh wee hen. Mammy, iron brew, no, iron brew. Until one fateful day, he joins Team USA. And now he sings all his wee songs just on Broom. Or Zoom.
It's brought all tear to my eye.
Oh my God, that was delightful.
Isn't that lovely?
Oh my God. And now I know what Ian Les Paul sounds like.
And now you know that all Scots people sing like that.
That's not how you sing. You're a bit more boomy.
That was, as they say,
it's-
the joke.
That is so lovely. I don't think anyone's ever written a song for me before.
I'm a
You've
wee
written me
tin-
poems, but
I'm a wee
not.
tin bath.
Yeah.
And that was Ian Les Paul on the mandolin.
Yes.
The inspiration came to him while he was feeding sheep.
Let's just further some more Scottish stereotypes while we're at it, shall we?
Ian, you have no idea how much joy that brought me this week.
And me. That was delightful.
It reminded me of a lighthouse. And it reminded me a little bit of Bagpuss as well. All in a very good way. Anyway, thank you very much, Ian, for... I'm going to call it a musical tribute.
Yeah, it was lovely. And the mandolin is lovely.
It's such a
You don't get to hear the mandolin very often anymore.
It's such a gorgeous instrument. And I love Nickel Creek and I love Chris Thiele. And that just made my week.
And you love REM.
I do.
Yeah.
Thank you again, Ian. Cheeky writes, Monday, Wednesday and Friday were a masterclass in what the show is supposed to be. This is Coronation Street at its absolute best. Community not as a buzzword, but as an active living thing. Not the tired keep calm and carry on cliche, but something far more meaningful. We carry on, but we carry on together. The Todd storyline was handled with a level of care that you just don't see very often. The show resisted every lazy instinct. No rushed confessions, no melodramatic breakdowns for the sake of a cliffhanger. No voyeuristic framing of trauma. Instead, we got something far more honest. Quiet processing, hesitation, discomfort and space. I also want to underline something that shouldn't be overlooked. The inclusion of support resources, ITV and the BBC for that matter, consistently make the effort to point viewers towards help, hotlines, guidance and somewhere to turn. That turns these storylines into something responsible. All of that said, this week is exactly why I keep coming back to Coronation Street when it leans into patience, empathy and community. It's operating on a level that very few shows can touch. Thank you very much, Cheeky. Cheeky, very impressed with the show this week. I was very impressed with it as well.
I was mostly impressed, yes.
I have some complaints.
Yes, you have some notes.
Because of course we do.
Because it's our job. It's our job to have some notes
And
that the writers will ignore.
And on that subject, Glenn also has some thoughts, particularly on Thursday's episode. Glenn writes, incredibly bizarre episode. First of all, Carla and Lisa are having a discussion and Carla is facing the kitchen. You can hear dishes being knocked together. The women panic about the baby, then realise Roy's doing the dishes with gloves on whilst holding Connie. In full view of Carla and in full sound range of both women, and neither of them realise that Roy's present, maybe 15 feet away.
Right, yes.
And then it gets even more odd. Roy says that he brought Connie downstairs. Obviously, she's so tiny that she sleeps in a crib. So why do neither Carla nor Lisa know where the baby is? Where else could she be, other than the crib? 2, Ryan loves Debbie and he hates Carl. And Ryan believes Carl is taking advantage of Debbie. So when Carl and Debbie are talking and then arguing, Ryan picks up none of their dialogue, even though he's at most 10 feet away from them. 3, for some reason, it's impossible to charge Theo with assault and Todd unless there's proof that Theo has a history of assault and Todd. Was a flat treated as a crime scene? Evidence collected? Theo's hands photographed? That's my real bugbear.
Yes.
Was that bit.
Yes, absolutely.
Is one assault not enough in the British legal system? Maybe Lou should have been found not guilty of hitting Gary from behind with an object she pulled out of a garbage bin, since she previously never hit Gary from behind with an object she pulled out of a garbage bin before.
Right on, man.
Yeah,
right on.
I think you are absolutely right on quite a bit of that, Glenn. And then I just want to say our thoughts are with an OG friend of the podcast, Canadian Helen.
Yes.
Lots of love from us on this side of the border. Feedback's always welcome. Send us your thoughts and I'll probably read them out. Get us at thetalkofthestreet@gmail.com, or our DMs are open at Corrie Podcast, or we love it when people write actual letters to us. Send us your proper mail to the Talk of the Street, PO Box 12, Eaton Rapids, Michigan, 48827. Please note that we reserve the right to edit feedback, but only in the interests of brevity. And now we'll podcast for coffee. We're drinking our own coffees this week. I'm drinking not one but 2 cherry Coca-Cola 0 sugars.
Ooh.
I buy one of these every day and I never drink the whole thing. Do you know how much these cost now?
That's why you've got a soda stream, my darling.
I know, I keep on forgetting to take it in. Like I keep on forgetting to take coffee in. It's not been a good week. These are extortionate now.
Yes. Yeah.
Remember when Coke used to be like $1?
Remember right before the soda stream was acquired, we were complaining about how ridiculously expensive the 12 packs of cans were?
They were They
They're
were
like
a tenner.
20 Yeah, they were a lot of money. And that's why I got you a soda stream for your birthday. Or not your birthday, Father's Day?
I can't remember.
I can't remember, but I did gift it to you.
You did.
One of those nice days.
Anyway,
Anyway,
who are you drinking?
pink grapefruit juice.
Nice. They've ran out of that at work. I get a small bottle of that for my breakfast at work, and they've ran out.
Oh, no.
Talk about a shitty week.
Oh.
Anyway,
Meanwhile, I had a low blood sugar event last Thursday, and on Monday when I came into work, my boss had bought like 5 or 6 different bags of hard candies, so I won't have low blood sugar at work ever again. What a nice guy. You can tell his aunt was friends with the Kennedys. Or at least Bobby.
once again, the very hint of me talking about myself is enough to change the subject. The Talk of the Street is and will always be free on your podcast provider and on YouTube. So if you think our show is worth anything more than the time it takes to listen to it, and if you want to show your appreciation, or if you want more weekly and monthly content, check out the links in this episode description, or head on over to corriepodcast.com, click on support the pod, and then friend of the podcast. For $2 a month, you can get access to our weekly spoiler show, the Talk of the Street spoiler alert, and the monthly classic Corrie show, the Talk of the Street Classics. For April, we're talking about episodes 2304 and 2305 from May the 2nd and 4th, 1983. This is Bet and Betty Trapped in a Lake. And if that wasn't enough, you can also get access to our Discord server, a shout out at the end of every podcast, your name in the credits of the flagship, and we'll reenact a one-act play for you, and we'll also play your lovely mandolin songs for you as well.
Yes, absolutely.
If you fancy something a little less formal, you can also buy us next week's coffee by clicking on Buy Us a Coffee. And remember, you can always support the podcast for free. Get us in front of new listeners by liking, subscribing, rating and reviewing wherever you get your podcasts. All right, shall we dive in, my dear?
Yes, please.
We'll start this week with Bernied out of our Bernies.
Not much here.
Not an awful lot.
No.
Not a lot happens here, except the cafe nearly burns down.
Well, you say that, but did you see a single flame? All I saw was smoke, and badly generated smoke from the CGI of the smoke.
I can understand smoke's hard to do CGI-wise.
Right.
But what really gets me is I'd completely forgotten at the end of this week that at the start of this week, the cafe nearly burned down.
Right. I'm trying to think if there were any scenes in the cafe after that.
No.
After that episode.
No, it's been closed, and I think when we see it again,
it'll be different.
It'll look a little different because it's been looking like that for quite some
right,
time.
Yeah.
It's about time you.
Nina needs to put her touch on it.
Yep. On Sunday, Jodie shits herself when she goes into Nina's rolls to find the lights not working, and Roy's still there. He's supposed to be off vampire hunting, Helen.
Yeah.
Roy explains that he's under the weather, he came home early, and he's taken some of Nina's special medicine to knock him out. I wonder what special medicine that is. The cafe will be closed today. Speed, you said?
Weed.
Oh, right. Because speed would probably wake him up a little bit.
Yes.
And he gives Jodie a sign to put on the door, telling them that they're closed because of electrical problems. And he gives her the day off, wondering if Mal was the master electrician that he claimed to be.
Right.
Standing in his wee special corner across the street, Mal watches her leave. Later, we see Dev on the phone to the CGI fire brigade because all of the CGI smoke is bellowing from the cafe flat windows. Carla comes along and is super worried until Ben explains it's all right. Roy and Nina are off killing bats. The CGI smoke thickens as Jodie comes round the corner and she sprints through the crowd explaining that Roy came home early, and she unlocks the door and runs in to find Mal, for some reason, still there and dousing the place in petrol.
Yeah, splashing gas around. No open flame.
Saying, Roy started this by writing saucy limericks to his wife. So you want to kill him, shouts Jodie, and she explains that Roy is upstairs, so you're going to help me rescue him or what? But he's already set a fire. There's smoke.
Upstairs.
So what's he doing downstairs dousing that? Don't you...
Maybe he just
Don't you wait until, like, maybe the last thing that you do is light the fire before you leave, rather than start a fire in one place and go somewhere else?
This whole thing is ridiculous. If we just want to nitpick this fire story, we would be here all day.
It's just so strange to see him there, like he doesn't realise that the fire's already started, that he's more or less done his job and he can leave.
Yes.
So anyway, this talking to makes Mal help Jodie, And the next we see, just as the CGI fire brigade arrives, Jodie and Mal come out, dragging Roy in his gym jams onto the street. Jodie is hailed a hero by all. How did this start, asks Brian, and Jodie points to Mal, who is sprinting away like Will from the scene, and right into Kit, who arrests him on the spot. You're going to regret this, mutters Mal. And later at the cop shop, for some reason, Dev and Bernie are hanging around as Mal is taken away, and as he goes, he tells Bernie that this is all her fault. She thinks he's right. It is her fault. It's her fault for introducing him to all these people. In the pub, Brian tells Ken that he worries about the future of Nina's roles. In the hospital, Carla is sitting at Roy's bedside. He's unconscious, suffering from CGI smoke in the lungs.
Yes.
Poor Roy.
Poor Roy and his CGI smoke. It's like something that you would expect from like an episode of Coronation Street or Doctor Who in the 90s, in the early 90s, this
No.
terrible smoke.
No, because they would use real smoke.
They'd probably even use real fire
They probably would.
because there was no fire. It was just smoke. Even inside, just smoke. It's like we want to pretend to burn this place down, but we don't want to actually damage it. So we're just going to pretend with some CGI smoke, but no CGI flames. You'd think CGI flames would be easier than CGI smoke.
They used the CGI flame budget when they burnt down number 8.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, so it's ridiculous, right?
It's so stupid.
It's ridiculous.
It's so terrible.
And it really wasn't all that tense either. I don't think so.
No.
They're not going to kill Roy off in this.
No.
Under no illusion that Roy
Yeah.
is in any real danger here.
It was kind of nice that Jodie actually cared that Roy might get burned down.
Which is an interesting facet of her character, I
Yes.
think.
Well, everybody loves Roy, so I guess. Yeah, you know what it reminded me of? Remember last year when I was watching like really, really terrible, corny horror movies like Big Ass Spider?
Vividly.
Yes. That's what it reminded me of. It reminds me of these horrible
Yeah.
CGI horror movies
I'll see where you're going
with
with that.
CGI big ass spiders. And that guy from Lost for some reason, who was in all of them.
What guy from Lost?
The fat guy.
Hurley.
Yeah. No, not that fat guy. The other fat guy. Big ass spider. From 2013. Big ass spider. You gave it a half star. Greg Grunberg. This guy.
He wasn't in Lost, he was in Heroes.
Oh, okay. Sorry. The fat guy from Heroes. I'm so sorry that I mixed Heroes and Lost.
Well, it did make it impossible for me to identify who you're talking about.
This guy.
Yeah. I don't think he's all that fat anymore.
I've watched 14 of his movies.
Jesus Christ. Anyway.
He's in
No.
2 Star Wars
No.
movies.
Anyway. I wondered if this fire happened because we want to redo Nina's roles.
I also feel
Or if we saw an opportunity with the Mal storyline to blend those two together. Because it would be hilarious if this whole storyline, the Mal storyline, the involvement with Kit, the horrible involvement with Bernie, if all of that is just there so that we can change the decor in Nina's roles, that would be hilarious.
I also feel like it's a reason for Roy and Nina to move in with Carla and Lisa. I feel like there's got to be a reason.
There's no room for them there.
There's got to be a reason why they're there. I'm assuming Nina is sharing a room with Betsy, and Roy's sharing a room with Ryan. You got your 2 R's there, R&R.
I don't
Sleeping
think...
top to tail. Or maybe Ryan has a bunk bed now. You can see Ryan having a bunk bed.
He's a big boy now. You can go in the top bunk.
Yeah, no, but with the wedding coming up next week, it kind of feels like this is part of the moving parts to get some of that done. Like Roy has to be there for some reason. I love his green hoodie.
That's Ryan's green hoodie.
Is that Ryan's green?
Yes.
I don't remember Ryan ever wearing a green
They
hoodie.
mentioned that he's wearing Ryan's clothes, I think. Or someone It gets mentioned somewhere, I'm sure.
Still, it's delightful to see Roy in a hoodie of any color.
And marigolds.
Much less
Holding a baby.
neon green.
I'm quite happy for Roy to be there. I'm just not sure what begat what to make all this happen, but we don't need to know that. On Monday, Bernie goes to apologise to Roy, who's still out of it but apparently getting home today. Swain is there with Carla and asks if there's anything else that she needs to know about Mal. Like what? Well, I don't know, you tell me. Well, I don't know. And Bernie is dodgy as fuck about this. At the station, Swain tells Kit that Mal has fingered him as the one who assaulted him.
But not like that.
And Kit is unmoved. First Bernie, then Dev, now him. Mal is unhinged, he says. And that's what the investigating officer thinks as well, says Swain. But Swain makes it clear that she knows something is stinking to high heaven here. Back home, Carl and Swain take charge of one Royston cropper. The flat and cafe are damaged, so he'll be staying there, and he's relieved when Carla shows him that she's managed to retrieve his and Haley's wedding album and some correspondence from her time in Africa.
Right, yes, which were only mildly damaged because there was no fire, just smoke.
Yep. And all of that was handily in a plastic bag. And it did look like a plastic bag that had been there for quite some time. Swain announces her warrant card missing to Carla just as Jodie shows up to see if they need anything else. And Carla and Swain are both keen to treat Jodie to a special dinner to thank her for saving Roy's life. And Jodie looks quite made up about all this.
Yeah, not enough to surreptitiously slip Lisa back her badge, though.
Heavens no. That'll crop up in another storyline
Yes,
in a
it
little
will.
bit. And that's as far as we get with that. In any other week, this would be a monumental event. And here it is, as I said, almost forgotten about by the time we get to Friday.
Yes. It really felt like this was a setup week. This is setting everything up for next week.
Which has been true, I think, for quite a few weeks leading up to this, but this more than most, perhaps. It does continue to confuse me about Jodie and her intentions and stuff. It's just so unreadable. And I think because of that unreadableness, she's in absolutely no danger of being killed next week. No danger at all. Out of the 5 of them, I think she's maybe the 4th most likely to be killed. The 5th most likely to be killed being Maggie, I would say. Because you're not going to kill off a character that you know nothing about.
Yeah.
When all of it is so intriguing and has drama stamped all the way through it. So, who do you think is the least likely to be killed?
No, I think you're right. I think all 5 of them are going to be in peril in some way next week.
Very much so.
But I do feel like Maggie and Jodie are the least likely to die.
So if that wasn't enough for you, let's talk now about Theo No Sleeves. On Sunday, Todd is fingering a photo of him and Billy as he packs.
But not like that.
Thank you. Well, with some effort. Theo comes in, remarkably nonplussed as he announces that Miles and Millie don't give a solitary fuck that he's moving to Belfast.
Because why would they? You can't even get them to show up for their court-appointed visitation.
One of them didn't look up, and one of them was nonplussed, I think, was how it went. Todd says that he needs to see Summer face-to-face before he leaves, because Theo says, yeah, by all means, send her a text. And Todd's like, no, I need to speak to her face-to-face.
Right, yes, because my child loves me.
Yes. Theo says he's already imagining their place on the outskirts of the city, weekend walks, country pubs, Sunday roasts, at a better pace, slower and more calculated, no chance of escape, tyres that grip in the wet, still cries at a good film, still kisses with saliva, no longer empty and frantic, like a cat tied to a stick that's driven into frozen winter shit, the ability to laugh at weakness, calm, fitter, happier, and more productive, a pig in a cage on antibiotics. Meanwhile, Summer is in the shop talking over Carol's remarks from last week with Asha. Asha can't remember much about Corrie Dales because it was so fucking dark, but if Debbie wasn't responsible for Billy's death, who could it have been? Summer's got an idea. She goes to Todd's flat, but he's not there, and she speaks to Theo. She says how she's been thinking about Billy a lot and wonders how Theo does it. Gulp, says Theo. Does what? Carry on with your life after watching somebody die, says Summer. Are you getting at something here, says Theo. But then Summer sees the suitcases at the side of the couch and Theo explains that they're leaving for Belfast tomorrow. I've got to go, says Summer, and she quickly leaves. And this scene was superb.
Yeah.
I loved this scene. This scene had movie written over it. There was just so much subtext. There was so much stuff that wasn't getting said that absolutely was getting said. There was Theo picking up what someone was laying down in this very
Coy
and secretive almost way, and Summer testing what Theo said and how he reacted. And because when he says that, oh, you've just got to kind of move on with it, and Summer's like, oh, it was just so wonderfully done.
Yes.
If you'd seen that in a movie, you'd have thought that was a brilliant scene in that movie. And
Yes.
here it was in Coronation Street.
Yes.
I think Summer is one to watch. She's been superb, I think, through the last
Harriet
few
Biggie
months.
has really come into her own on the show.
Since Billy died, she's been absolutely incredible. But she was great before that as well.
Right, yeah. Once they decided to stop having her faint and have bad boyfriends or get kidnapped by people who want a baby,
I think the
just let
turning
her
point
act.
was when she dropped some acid. Remember? That was so good.
that was great.
But this was brilliant. I really, really enjoyed it. So Summer eventually meets Todd in the pub and he apologises for not telling her about Belfast tomorrow. Summer doesn't mind that he's going, it's more that he's going with Theo. Todd says, we've been through this, but Summer disagrees because at no point did anyone say that this would mean that Todd has been separated from everyone that he loves. She tells him about Carl and his weird comment and how she thinks that he means Theo killed Billy, but she doesn't know why he would want to do that. And Todd's face.
Seriously, Summer?
Yeah.
Seriously, you don't have any reason why Theo would want to kill Billy?
Think about it just a little bit longer, Summer.
Just a wee bit more, hen.
Todd's face gives it away though. But you know, says Summer. And at that in comes Theo, and he quickly hurries Todd away as they have an early start in the morning. Back at the flat, Todd says that he can't leave Summer, who's still not handling her grief very well. Theo thinks Summer is an adult, which I agree with, but Todd says it would break her if he left. He tells Theo to go on ahead and he'll catch up in a week or two, and he insists that he loves Theo. Theo seems unusually compliant about this, but then when he sends Todd off to unpack, he locks Todd in their bedroom. This flat has far too many locking doors.
From the outside.
Yes. And you
Why?
knew that this was coming because Theo's never going to be okay with this.
No.
Because he's insanely jealous of Summer.
Yeah. And jealous of everybody that loves Todd.
Mm-hmm.
But especially Summer because, again, Todd and Summer have a great relationship. Billy and Summer had a great relationship. Theo's kids hate him.
So on Monday, through the night, Todd's had to listen to Theo's unhinged ramblings where he goes from hating Todd and wishing that he'd never met him to declaring his undying love. In the morning, Todd's phone, which is with Theo, has a special Belfast alarm go off, and Theo's surprised that Todd seemed genuinely excited about it. Todd says that he was, and says that this night has given him time to realise that Theo needs him more than Summer does, so he's changed his mind about hanging about. Theo is moved, but can't trust that Todd won't leave him. And then Sarah, Summer and George show up, and on the ring camera, they say they're there to see Todd and Theo off. But Theo, chirpy as ever, says that, oh, we've already left, I'm on my mobile, and we've just stopped at this petrol station in Warrington. Sarah wants to speak with Todd, but Theo says he's paying for the petrol and he'll call back, and then he hangs up. Todd says this is how he can prove he's trustworthy, by calling Sarah back and backing up Theo's story. So hesitantly, Theo unlocks the door, gives Todd his phone, and Todd does what he said he would do. Theo breaks down in tears. Todd tells him that they can still make the afternoon ferry, so hurriedly they pack up a few things. Theo goes for a shower, and as soon as his back is turned, Todd quickly empties out his rucksack and tries to leave. But Theo has suspected that this would happen and locked the door. You've lied to me for the last time, he says as he bears down on Todd. And later there's a call on Sarah's intercom and it's Todd. Sarah and Kit rush down to the street and find Todd all covered in jam. Kit runs off to get the car. Sarah says they'll take him to hospital, but Todd, through the jam, says he'd rather go to the police station. Oofed.
Yes. Oofed indeed.
I don't know if that was like a handheld camera or something when Theo just snapped at that point and was bearing down on Todd, and there was a strange wee zoom that happened, but
Yeah.
it was quite effective. It was,
It was
very
very
immediate.
good. Yes, I agree.
But what gets me is, how does Todd get from his flat to Sarah's flat
With nobody noticing
looking like
him.
that and not walking by anybody? And he could barely walk. He could barely hold himself up.
Right, as we'll learn later, he has a ruptured spleen,
Yes.
which is why Sarah should have ignored him and taken him straight to the hospital, and the police could have interviewed him at the hospital.
Yeah, I'm not... I know this isn't a police procedural and it's not a medical procedural, no matter how much the show tries to insist otherwise.
Right.
Although it's been much better in
It
terms of
has.
the hospital recently.
Yeah.
I've hardly hit the casualty button. We're at the police station quite a bit though. But all the way through this on Wednesday, I'm thinking, is this the order that stuff would happen in? Because it feels like, I don't know, that evidence has been captured properly here. And there's stuff that we kind of talked about in the feedback section as well that'll come up. But anyway, let's go through it. So
Yes.
on Wednesday, Todd is photographed at the police station, and the extent of his injuries is actually quite shocking. He's bruised in his side and his chest and his arms, and his face has got half a dozen cuts in it that are all bleeding quite a bit. His face is like something in a horror movie.
Yeah. Yeah. They did a really good job with the jam this time.
They really did. And the way that Todd's speaking here feels almost like he's kind of worried that his jaw's broken or
Right,
something,
yeah.
because his speech is slurred a bit. And
Yeah.
a great job all round. As he's led to an interview room, PC Jess is dealing with another domestic violence victim, and she and Todd share a look. Todd's interviewed by Swain and Kit, and they're very keen to get to the bottom of what happened, but Todd is still cloaking lots of what he's saying in language that paints him as an agitator and Theo as a regretful partner, and he's wandering round the subject, even though Swain and Kit are pretty direct with the questions that they're asking him. He kind of takes a long way round. But Todd admits that Theo was jealous, and Todd, perhaps perversely, says that he enjoyed the envy as no one else ever cared about him like that before. He explains about the trip to the hospital to get his eye stitched up and how Theo made sure that he didn't go over the door until that had healed, and Swain's shocked that Theo locked him in the flat. They ask him if he was ever worried that he might be killed or that Theo might kill himself, and it's the latter that bothered Todd the most, which is why he installed cameras in the flat. And this brings him on to Billy. It wasn't Debbie who killed Billy, or Theo, despite what Summer thinks. I thought, why don't they react to that? Why don't Swain and Kit react to the fact that Summer is now sure that Theo killed Billy? But Todd says it was him. He was the one who killed Billy by making him leave the wedding early after Billy saw the footage and saw that Theo had edited it. Kit is very interested in learning the whereabouts of this footage, and I'm like, was that on Todd's laptop?
I think so.
I thought so. I thought this was all on Todd's laptop.
Right.
Because it was his camera that was feeding
Right.
the cloud or whatever.
Yeah, it was his new laptop, because remember Theo smashed his other one?
Oh.
Or
that's
he
right.
smashed... The laptop was smashed. I can't remember which one of them did it. But Theo...
But now
Yeah.
it feels like we've all just forgotten where that footage is or what happened to it. But it was on a laptop, and Billy found the original footage in the hard drive of the laptop, because of course a scaffolder like Theo doesn't know how video editing software works, which is, I guess, true to life.
Yeah.
So Kit's very interested in learning the whereabouts of this footage. Meanwhile, Theo's attempting to slink away, but Gary's already spoken with Sarah and stolen Theo's keys right out of his van. And in a scene that mirrors Theo shaking the flat keys at Todd, Gary's shaking Theo's van keys at Theo.
Yes. Why does he have so many keys? I'm assuming one's for the flat and one's for the van. What are the other keys for?
His desk at work?
Has Gary given him a desk at work?
Maybe a key for the builder's yard. That's 3. Maybe for Danielle's house.
Ugh.
Maybe one for his P.O. box.
Don't they get their mail
One
delivered
for the
there?
gym.
Because didn't he like order a he ordered some equipment and it just showed up by the front door, which is hilarious because anybody could take it. Remember that was an exercise bike? I don't think they ever set it up because we never see them actually use it in the flat.
We saw Todd on it once.
Yeah, and then never again.
It's doing what any other exercise bike does. It's holding laundry.
It's like the refrigerator at the quad house. Once it's done its duty,
Yep.
it's just shut away somewhere and we'll never see it again.
At least the exercise bike didn't spit ice cubes all over the place.
That would be funny if it did.
So Gary insists on giving Theo a ride to the police station. Theo says, well, I'm just going there anyway. Gary says, that's great. I can take you then. Come on then. Let's go.
Let's go.
And in case things get spicy, he found a wrench covered in Theo's fingerprints that will make anything that Gary does look like self-defense because Gary is wearing gloves. Gary's kind of done this before.
Yes, he has.
Todd is leaving the police station when Theo comes in and Theo says that he forgives him and he loves him as he's dragged away.
The fact that he's like, I forgive you. And like, that's the first thing out of his mouth is, I forgive you. Mm-hmm. When it's Todd that's covered in jam.
He's playing the role. He's playing the role immediately.
Yeah, but he's the kind of person that you almost think he believes his own bullshit. Mm-hmm. Because he's...
Yeah, I've thought about that. I wondered
he's a little cuckoo bananas.
If Theo thinks what he says is true. And I don't think he does.
I don't think he thinks all of it is true, but I think there's he's compartmentalized so much of his life that at this point he doesn't really have a firm grasp of reality one way or the other.
Mm-hmm. Sarah takes Todd to hospital despite Todd's protests and he collapses in the car park. Swain and DC Interchangeable are interviewing Theo, who pushes the photos of Todd's injuries away and says that he acted in self-defence. And at this point, it's baffling why no one photographs Theo to record the fact that he has no injuries whatsoever, apart from maybe injuries on his knuckles. Because this is what proves self-defence, as if there's any defensive injuries of Todd attacking him.
Right.
And presumably there isn't.
Because he's only got damage on his knuckles that he bruised on Todd's face.
Right. I don't think we even see that. But they either don't seem interested in doing that or they don't seem interested to tell us that they're interested in doing that.
Right, yeah.
Because these are vital things to capture.
Absolutely. But,
Swain pushes him on the footage, but Theo says that it'll show him to be innocent, but then refuses to acknowledge that it exists, which is a really strange stance to take.
He's like Donald Trump.
Swain tries to wind him up, asks him about whether he's always had a temper and things like that he deftly avoids. So Swain throws him back to the cells where he punches the door and insists that he didn't do anything wrong. At the hospital, it's revealed that Todd has a ruptured spleen and some internal bleeding. George is so sorry for not doing more to help. Through all this, the woman that Todd saw has left the police station without pressing charges and has gone back to her abuser. PC Jess is frustrated by this, and we get...
Yay, PC Jess back!
Yes, and we get a cheeky wee Swain monologue here as she explains that she once thought like that and couldn't understand people who would go back for a night of peace before the tension started building again. And all we can do is be ready for these brave souls once they gather the courage to speak out and help them when they do, she says. But she says an awful lot more than that.
Right, yes. And there's this whole monologue while she's speaking where we see that woman, we see another battered woman with her kids at the hospital or
people
something.
People sitting on the bench, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and all the while I'm like, shouldn't Todd be in the room when she makes this monologue? Shouldn't, like, a person who needs to hear it? And... is this maybe a little too long and a little too unbelievable that somebody would just start rambling off this thing, this huge monologue?
This is the problem that I have in monologues, is that they never feel like something somebody would say. I can't imagine this being the conversation that Swain and PC Jess would have.
Right.
I can imagine them talking about it.
Yes.
But I can't imagine it
being one-sided.
Right. Or as one-sided as this
Right.
turns out to be. And I've seen an awful lot of differing opinion on this, and it seems that there's a couple of camps here. There are the people who thought that the monologue was wonderful and important and well delivered and nothing but positivity about it. And then there's people on the other side who think it was a bit clawing, a bit on the nose, a bit being spoon-fed, how we're supposed to think about this if we haven't already come to the conclusion of how we're supposed to think of this through the things that they've shown us, rather
Right,
than having
yeah.
Swain tell us.
It did feel very shoehorned, and it did feel like it distracted from leaving the attention on Todd, which is where the attention should have been the whole time. Because, and I mean, don't get me wrong, in the course of Corrie monologues about something important, this feels more to me like Sam and climate change as opposed to Gail. The Gail's suicide monologue, standing at the window looking down on the street, I appreciated and I enjoyed because it is in the voice of a character who is genuinely concerned about her son. There's a direct correlation between that character and what she's talking about. There's an intimacy there that's not really there with Lisa talking to PC Jess about it as she looks out the window and sees that woman get in that man's car, sort of thing.
I think Swain has maybe seen some of herself in Todd's shoes in the relationship with Becky.
Was Becky ever physically abusive, though? She was mentally abusive.
Well, abuse is abuse, right?
Well, yeah.
I didn't like the Gail monologue when it happened. And I've kind of warmed to it by seeing it so often since then.
Uh-huh.
Then we had the Tim monologue. What was Tim monologuing about?
I can't remember. What was Tim monologuing about?
That was definitely below
Right.
Gail's monologue.
Yes.
And I think this is maybe on a level with Tim's
With
monologue.
Tim, yeah.
It's more of a Tim's monologue than a Gail's monologue. And honestly, if we never got another monologue out of Coronation Street characters, I would be absolutely thrilled.
Especially if they're monologues about very important topics.
Oh, they're always about very important topics.
Right.
But it's just like a cherry on top to say,
Right.
this is the thing that we're doing, and this is what we're going to think about it. It feels like the monologue is there for award season, and it thinks that the monologue is there to do the little PSA job at the end of the important episode. And neither of those things are for the story.
Right. Exactly. I think, like I said, I think that there was very important stuff that Lisa was saying. But it just felt like there was a better way to incorporate that within the story. And for some of that to be said with Todd in the room.
Yeah, I agree. And let's just say this is at the end of what I think was a remarkably good episode.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think Gareth Pearce was doing a great job. I think James Cartwright's doing a great job. Harriet Bibby, we've talked about already, is stellar throughout this. I think the writing is really sharp. I think there's a lot of the threat that wasn't in the Nina's Roll's been on fire. We've absolutely felt the threat.
On smoke.
Felt the threat here in the previous episode and in this one. And I was thinking that this episode was going to be a kind of a flashback to what happened between Theo bearing down on Todd and Todd getting to Sarah's.
Right.
And I'm glad it wasn't that, because that was just watching Todd getting beat up, and
Yeah.
I don't think we
don't need to see that.
So the aftermath of it and Todd's now brave stance as to what he's going to do, and the realities of that, and how he thinks he's pathetic because he kept on going back to him, and Theo really loves me, and he'll feel terrible about what he's done, and all that stuff that Theo has managed to condition him into thinking over a fairly long period of time. I think it was even more heartbreaking to hear it from Todd while he's looking how he looks, how you can say those things with his face beaten to a pulp.
Of course, that's another thing. Why the hell don't they clean that poor man up before they interview
Clean
him?
him up and give him a shirt to wear. He's walking about the police station.
Covered in
taps
blood.
off.
Yeah.
He should have been at the hospital. The photograph
Yes.
should have happened
In the hospital.
in the hospital. And maybe get some doctors involved and all that, rather
Right,
than
yes.
whoever's turned up at the police station today with a camera. You get to take the photographs here.
Yeah.
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 But all that notwithstanding, it was a great episode.
Yes.
Just not sure about the monologue.
Right. And I'm also not 100% sure about the inclusion of those two women who we learn towards the end have both been in violent relationships with men.
It was distracting. 'Cause
It
I'm like,
was-
are we supposed to know who that is?
Right, yeah, because we don't realize that this woman who was being interviewed by PC Jess, that's what she was in there for.
Mm-hmm.
And we see her a couple of times just kind of staring at Todd in different situations.
Oh,
And then it's
did she
not
see
until the end.
something?
Right, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Oh, is this someone who's reported the battering or heard something? And it kind of felt like they did that because they were worried that through all of this, there were going to be people who said, oh, of course you're going to talk about a man being beat up in a domestic violence situation. What about women? Women get beat up more than men do. That sort of thing, that they were kind of staving that off.
Yeah, maybe.
And it really was more a distraction than anything for the Todd story.
I think what they were going with that is this happens more than you think.
Right.
But I don't know that anybody is under the impression that they don't.
Yeah.
That this is a rare thing.
Yeah. It's like, what is it? It's like 3 in 5 women and 1 in 5 men will be in a abusive relationship in their lifetime.
Right, which is,
Terrifying.
yeah, and staggering.
Yeah.
Each.
Yes.
All right, on Thursday, Todd is doing bed goes up, bed goes down in hospital, or he would be if someone would quit playing with the buttons on his bed remote. Privately, Sarah promises that he's safe now and Theo will be sent down for a long time. Todd, though, can't see how that will happen without the cops getting their hands on the footage, which he thinks might be on one of Theo's old tablets or something. Despite saying that she'd sit with him, Sarah fucks off to the pub where the gang all learn that Theo will probably get let out on bail. Gary explains that when he saw Theo yesterday, he was loading his van, looking like he was ready to scarp her. And Sarah worries that he'll get to the tablet and delete the footage. And Maria sees where this is going and warns Gary to stay the fuck away
Stay the fuck away,
and
Gary.
stay the fuck out of this and let the police do their job. And it's so funny because Gary just nods, goes,
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Sarah, though, goes to Theo's van and opens up from the back and finds a tablet in a bag, but it's quickly found by Theo.
Right, because she's like standing there with the bag, digging through the bag, right there, with the van open. And then when she finds the tablet in the bag, she opens it up to look through it instead of saying, well, here it is.
She
I'm out of here.
wanted to check the weather. So Theo's been let out on bail and, oh boy, is he angry. Angry that there's a domestic violence restraining order on him that keeps him away from Todd, his husband, who he still insists is the violent one in the relationship.
Yikes.
Anyway, puts the willies up Sarah and tells her that he's going to grass her up to the cops, which he duly does because later Kit is fucking furious that she could be so stupid.
Again.
What is it with you and vans? That was hilarious. But he's one to talk.
Right, because he's the one who actually planted that evidence.
She thinks that he's upset because it was a redneck for him when she was dragged into the station for questioning, but he explains that she could have fucked the whole case. If Theo has a half-decent lawyer, he'll be able to argue that this could all have been a setup. And this really affects Sarah and she starts to cry. She goes to apologise to Todd in hospital and he's charitable about it, resigned to Theo getting away with it like he always does, and worried that Theo won't rest until Todd is finally broken. On Friday, Todd is settling back into life in his mum's, except his mum isn't there anymore, and George has been decorating.
Uh-oh.
Poor Eileen's. It looks like they put a hatch in. There wasn't a hatch before. I think I saw a hatch. Anyway.
Like a hatchet? Like an axe?
No, like a hatch. They've knocked through from one room into another room and put little shutter doors on it.
Yeah, that's the kitchen. Those shutter doors have always been in the kitchen.
No. Not a full door, just a little hatch that you can pass plates through or something.
Oh, yeah, they totally don't need that. The kitchen is right there and it's toty.
But it's not going into the kitchen, it's going into the front room. So not
Which
the
makes
opposite side of the
absolutely
kitchen.
no sense.
Right, so you come out the kitchen, into the dining room, and pass something through the front room? Why would you do
Wait,
that?
yeah, under the stairs?
No, the stairs are on the other side.
Oh, right. The stairs are, yeah. God, these houses are so confusing.
Mary, Christina and George all expressed guilt and regret that they weren't able to extract Todd from that relationship earlier, and Todd doesn't think anyone should blame themselves. He does realise it's going to have to call Eileen, and when he does, she's furious and wanting to head home to tear Theo a new asshole.
Woohoo!
It's best if she doesn't come back, says Todd. The next order of business is for Todd to head back to the flat to get some fresh clothes instead of wearing Kit's giant hoodies. George and Christina don't see the rush and would rather that Todd just stayed where he is, but Todd's insistent, so at Christina's secret suggestion, George goes with. Luckily, Theo is nowhere to be seen, but George and Todd work quickly as he packs a bag. When the buzzer goes, though, everyone shits themselves. It's a delivery guy for Theo, and George tells them to fuck off, but this has been enough to send Todd into a panic attack, and he has to hurriedly leave. Outside, George calms Todd down, and he's furious with himself for still loving a guy who could do this to him. Back home, Mary has armed herself with a very small baseball bat, just in case Theo comes looking for trouble.
Yeah, it's like, Mary, where did you get that? Because it's like the size of one that you would get as a souvenir at a ballpark.
Yes, or for a child.
Are there any baseball parks in the UK?
They're not thick on the ground, I would say.
Especially one where you would buy a souvenir baseball bat?
No, there's none of them. I don't know that you're going to find any baseball diamond in the UK. Maybe
That's shocking.
Maybe some rounders. But you just play rounders in a park.
Yeah, and it's like when MLB occasionally goes over and plays in the UK.
Like
Like
play at Wembley or something like that.
right, yeah, they just they just paint a diamond
Slap
on the
a diamond
grounds.
down. Yep.
So
Throw some sand down. You're good to go.
yeah, like when they play actual gridiron football over there occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why you would need that. Why you would need gridiron football in the United Kingdom when football is already there and doing a good enough job.
It's very, very popular. Makes a lot of money.
Isn't it weird?
Not
Does
really.
it seem weird to you that
Not really. I was
British
there in the
people like football?
I was there on the ground floor when it was the early 80s, maybe 81, 82. Mm-hmm. It started to be shown on Channel 4, and Channel 4 was a new channel at the time, so you're watching everything that's on it, and a lot of it was quite racy, and Cheers was on, so you had all the reason in the world to watch Channel 4,
Right.
and they would show a couple of games on a Sunday night,
And you'd watch
and it
it.
was something that was new, and these guys are wearing helmets for some reason. It was like watching rollerball
and still getting injured.
somehow.
Yes.
And we all saw Joe Theismann get it.
Yeah.
See, I can understand it. And it's obviously making money, otherwise they wouldn't do it.
Right, yeah. You don't like football now, though.
No, it's very, very boring. But I think that about most sport.
We watch the Super Bowl. That's about it. We watch for the
I don't.
we watch for the halftime show and the commercials. Yeah. I watch baseball, but mostly I watch baseball like this on my phone.
So you insist.
Look, see? It's the Tigers and the Red Sox, so I feel like a house divided. And neither one of them has scored a run yet, and it's the bottom of the fifth. I'm actually kind of glad I'm not watching that.
I'm going to
'cause
now
this is-
talk about something that's not baseball.
Okay.
Todd appreciates and announces that he'll be leaving for a short break to the lakes thanks to Sarah. A guilty Sarah.
Yeah.
For now, though, he's glad to be back amongst the madness.
Yes.
That was nice.
Yeah. You think it's important that Todd will not be around next week?
Yeah, I was worried about that. And worried about what happens in another storyline. But Todd's absence was not expected. Because we know that Theo's in it next week.
Yeah.
Because we saw, thanks to the flash forward,
Oh, don't even do that anymore.
we know that he's there with some jam on his face, I think.
Right, yes. Oh, well.
So are you confirming that Todd isn't in it next week?
I can neither confirm nor deny until we get behind the paywall in an hour or so.
My God. Yeah, this was a really good week for this storyline. Obviously, getting Todd finally out of that relationship. And I think we can be in no doubt that that's them Splitsville now, right?
Yeah.
There's no
way.
There's no going back after Corriedales.
There's no way after all of that George would allow it.
And the viewers would riot.
Yes. I would riot.
Oh, 100%.
I would.
You can make us sit through this? Sit through months of this? Sit through months of seeing the Todd that we know and love be chiselled away and chiselled away? We think that he gets out at Corriedales and then he's back in it and it's worse than ever.
How much did your heart break when Summer said he's not the same Todd anymore?
Oh,
he's
I know.
broken.
Oh, my God.
Ugh. Harriet Pipping needs to be nominated for lots of things this year. That's all I'm saying.
And I think this is flying under the radar for a lot of people. I don't know that she's getting the credit that she's due.
Right. Because people are more interested in the boom boom parts.
And there's no shortage of great performances in the storyline. I get it. But I think what Harriet Bibby is adding to it really can't be overlooked. Because there's that. I think because also she's a younger character, that the fact that she's so destroyed and so grief-stricken anyway, like for this to happen to the last dad that she loves is, on that level, it's a heartbreaking story. Obviously, it's heartbreaking on the Todd level, but there's grief to be spread about here.
Right, yes. And she still hasn't finished grieving for Billy.
No.
And when Billy died, I don't think she was done grieving for Paul.
Nope.
She's been through enough.
Yeah. A really good job. It feels now that we've got through this that the lead up to it wasn't as agonizingly long as it was. It was really long. But wow, it delivered this week, 100%. Just incredible stuff. Great writing, great directing, great acting. Maybe a little question mark over the monologue and some question marks over the order of events here where
right.
Some things aren't photographed that probably should have been.
Right. The procedures of the police station.
Right.
Not great.
All right, we'll move on to Where There's a Will. Just some scenes on Sunday for this, Helen. George is down in the dumps as he announces to Glenda and Christina that he's got a meeting with Rupert from Rest Easy, who he thinks will be making an offer for Shuttleworth today.
No.
Glenda and Christina murmur worriedly. George does indeed meet Rupert at the Undertakers, and he's made a lowball offer and is lording it over George, how he's been waiting for this day for some time. But just as he's about to shake on a deal, Christina and Glenda burst in with 4 random old people who are all looking forward to being planted by George at some point in the fairly near future. And they regale George like an episode of This Is Your Life with stories of how George was a reasonably good undertaker to their loved ones. Thanks, says George, but I've got no choice. The deal seems to take a pause here while Rupert starts schmoozing with the coffin dodgers, and Christina insists that George not give up. When he hears Rupert explain how the oldies can arrange a funeral with just 12 clicks and not having to speak to anyone, George is enraged into action. Undertaking is a sentimental business, and it always will be, and it'll be a cornerstone of Shuttleworth's business. No deal, prick, he says, and he chases Rupert out of the Undertakers. Later in the week, we'll learn that George has got some new business. So I think that's that finished with.
Yes.
It was so strange.
It was such a ridiculous storyline.
Brings these 4 old people and says, you once buried my dad and you gave him a cardigan because they couldn't find his one. Thanks, George.
Yeah.
And you gave my man a beautiful send-off.
Yes. Where were all of these people when George was on trial? All of these could have been character witnesses for him. Mm-hmm. Where's that incompetent lawyer of his who he decided not to pull any people who love George and has a good review of Shuttleworth?
Bested by Barlow.
Aye.
Moving on, meet the Driscolls. On Monday, the police apparently have been unable to get any footage from the hotel CCTV, so it seems that Will and Megan are off the hook. Eva says they should all go out for dinner to put their minds onto something else. What Ben doesn't realise is that this means Maggie is invited, and he snipes at her quite a bit as they're ordering their food. "Porky pies for Ma," he says. Then they see Steve and Cassie arrive, and Ben invites them to join them, much to Eva's dismay. But Ben points out that they're a family too, thanks to his mother's loose morals. Steve and Cassie take a seat. "And I thought my family was dysfunctional," says Steve. It is.
It is. This is part of your family now, Steve. You seem to forget.
On Thursday, Susie is super impressed by Maggie's lemon drizzle.
Yes. As was I. It looked delicious.
Maggie is hosting some friends for a coffee morning. But hold the bus. Maggie has friends?
Yes. From the Irish Club. From Manchester's Irish Club.
I guess that could be a thing. It's funny because Susie says, "Could you do me a cake for my birthday, Grandma Maggie?"
Uh-huh.
And she says, "Certainly." And Susie says, "I'll go off and get my sketches." And again, it's just, you're not really paying attention to what Susie says.
No.
Because it's just Susie.
Being delightful.
But she's got little precocious gems that she throws in left and right here. So Maggie has friends, and also Eva has planned a pampering session for Susie and her mates, so Maggie will need to cancel.
Yeah. And she's brought someone in for this. A beautician is coming in to give a gaggle of 6-year-olds manicures.
Yep. Little cucumbers on the eyes, that kind of thing. Because they get bags.
I had to imagine Susie with bags under her eyes, and I can't do it. Why doesn't Maggie and her friends just sit at the table in the pub and have their cake and drink coffee?
They have
It's
a pub.
shut.
They have a pub, for example.
It's the morning, so it's shut. It's not like somebody's going to come in and, interrupt them.
Even if they did, turn your coffee morning into a beer morning.
Sure.
What could possibly go wrong? Later, a bedraggled Maggie comes home after 2 bus rides to and from someone else's house who agreed to host the coffee morning on the fly.
And there's still lemon drizzle cake left.
Although it's somewhat deflated.
Yes.
Eva apologises for Ben, even though Ben isn't upset with Maggie because of this. She says everyone is on tenterhooks thanks to Megan. Maggie agrees and says if she sees that Megan anytime soon, she'll wring her fucking neck. And she says this just as Swain comes in to give an update to the family.
And it was hilarious because she can't see Swain behind her. Mm-hmm. And Eva keeps saying, "Maggie. Maggie."
Yep.
And I know this is a trope that goes back to the 1930s.
It's as old as the hills.
I get it. But it's never not funny.
Yeah, because she gets angrier and angrier. This
Right,
thing
yeah.
just
Stands there.
without saying anything. And I think we get a little double take.
Yeah.
We get a look at we get one of them. We don't get them
Right.
very often.
And then all of a sudden her face changes to like this smiley grandmother face.
Mm-hmm. The update that Swain gives is mostly there's nothing to update, but Swain insists that no one should be taking the law into their own hands. So it's a nice little bit of foreboding, I think, for next week, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I do think there's a fair chance that Maggie's the one that kills Megan. I still think that's high on the list of possibilities. On Friday, Maggie is back to being a cow to Lauren, and Lauren doesn't give a fuck one way or the other. Steve comes in to apologise for the other day, and Maggie's a cow to him too, especially when he asks for her memories of his dad, which was also... that was a brave thing
What
to
was
ask
my
for,
dad
wasn't it?
like while you were shagging him?
She says it's about the relationship was shorter than this conversation is going to be. And she's about to chuck him out when Ben comes along, gives him booze, and challenges him to a game of darts. He asks Maggie
And importantly, tells Lauren to stop cleaning and start pulling pints.
He asks Maggie if his dad was good at darts, and then announces to a largely apathetic bar that Jim McDonald was his dad thanks to his mum's cheating on his other dad. Maggie drags him through the back room and tells him not to be so fucking selfish, but he points out that she kept his secret from him for 46 years. She tells him that he can either continue this sniping campaign or they can put it behind him and focus on Will and fixing this family, and that seems to shut him up. Poor Steve never gets his game of darts. And that's as far as we get with that this week.
Yeah, not much. It's interesting that we don't get much.
I
mean,
like
do we-
Ben not talking to Maggie.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah. He really puts her in her place. Like, she fully expects him to back her up for the little coffee clutch.
Oh, that was wonderful.
And then like Ben's like, nope.
Clean up your shit and get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Or worse to that effect.
Yes. 8-year-olds need to be pampered.
Yep, I was cheering at that. Not the pampering bit, the Ben bit.
Get this child a mud mask and heated stones for her back, which is killing her.
Oh my God. Oh, she's a martyr to her back. Poor Susie. I get the feeling that this was the things that we got out of this was the foreboding bit
Right.
of Maggie threatening to kill Megan. And there was Steve and Ben thawing the relationship
Yes.
again, because it got a little bit icy for a while there, and Ben calls himself to Steve, your
Uh-huh.
little brother. Do you want a pint with your little brother? And
Right.
that seems to make Steve very happy.
Yes.
So I get the impression that maybe that's all sort of smoothed over as well.
Yeah.
Did conflate the reasons why Ben's angry with Maggie. Eva seemed to think that Ben's angry with Maggie because of the Megan thing. And it's got nothing to do with that.
It's about the gym thing, yeah.
Because when Eva's saying, "Do you know, I'm sorry that Ben spoke to you like that. He shouldn't speak to you like that. We should be all coming together for Will." Like, those things aren't related to each other.
Well, no, but if even though Ben is mad at Maggie for the Jim McDonald stuff, Eva's right that they all need to come together for Will.
They do.
So it just
Even
because
if it's Will.
just because Will isn't the reason why Ben is mad at Maggie, they still need to bury the hatchet and all get together and figure out what to do about Will.
What do we do about Will?
How do you solve a problem like William?
I'll tell you how we do that. We move on to the next storyline.
That sounds good to me.
Sister from the same mister. On Thursday at number 6, Swain's still searching for that warrant card and hasn't twigged that the only thing that's changed in their house recently is the presence of Jodie. As a distraction to all this, Roy is wearing Ryan's clothes and taking care of Connie and generally looking like Steve Buscemi trying to mingle with kids. At number 8, Jodie is fingering Swain's badge.
But not like that.
Her badge. But hides it when David comes into the room. He's on the phone to Gail complaining about Lily, who's after a new tablet, but she can fucking whistle for it because they're not made of money.
Anyway, happy birthday, Mum.
Later in the precinct, a youth on a tablet litters, and this is caught by a passing Jodie who flashes her badge
But not like that.
and makes her pick it up. Seizing an opportunity, she takes the kid's tablet, saying that it looks like one that was reported stolen. And the kid's like, "Oh, you can't just take that. Oi!" But it's too late. PC
late.
Jodie's off.
She's already gone.
When she's holding up the card, there's a picture of Swain.
She's covering the picture of Swain.
Just about, you can still see Swain's clearly blonde hair. And then you look at Jodie and you think, it's going to fool a kid, sure.
Right, yeah. What surprises me is that kid didn't like immediately then go and complain to their parents, who would go to the cop shop
Right.
and start making complaints.
I thought this, and I saw someone else think the same thing, and I know that it's absolutely impossible, but I thought, wouldn't it be funny if that kid's tablet is the tablet that's got the footage from Theo and Todd's storyline on it? I have no idea how that could possibly happen.
That would be hilarious. That would be like Kev finding out about Abby and Carl sleeping together on not Ralphie. What's that kid's name? Not Freddie. What's it?
There's a thought that there could be a kid on the show called Ralphie.
There isn't. There should be.
All right, let's go through this one more time then. Jake, Harry, Chesney, Daniel,
It ends in IE, I believe. Just like
Alfie.
Alfie, that's right. Kev finding out about Abby's affair on Alfie's tablet, which for some reason gets Abby's text messages.
Let's make this wee litterbug's tablet have Theo and Todd's webcam footage and the drone footage. The drone footage that puts Carol in the car that knocked down Tyrone.
I was just thinking about that drone footage.
And I forgot to mention Tyrone and the...
right, and the Todd storyline. It was really nice that the show remembered that he was a battered husband.
Yes.
I appreciated that.
I appreciated that as well. So much so that I forgot to mention it. Well, I'm mentioning it now.
Yes, we mentioned it now. I already talked about Tyrone's purple hoodie. So
Yeah.
Lots of hoodies this week.
Lots of tablets. On Friday, Lily's got a face full of plooks, so refuses to go to school, and David says, well, she's nearly a teenager now, so it's expected, and I immediately have to look up to see how old Lily is, and sure enough, she's 12, which is what I saw the last time I looked her up. Jodie tries to lighten the mood by handing her the stolen tablet, saying that she got it cheap and it's refurbished, but Shona's like, nah, no fucking way, rips the tablet back and hands it over to Jodie again, telling her that she got involved in something that she had no business getting involved in.
Yes.
Jodie is sheepish as she takes the tablet back. When David reminds Lily that she would get a tablet for her birthday and not a moment sooner, Lily announces that she hates them all and stomps up the stairs of discovery.
Yeah. I liked that, they asked her if she used toothpaste on her pimples and stuff.
That never worked
nice.
for me. Clearasil was the only thing that ever worked for me.
Oh. I had medication for it,
Oh?
which helped clear it up. My mom took me to a dermatologist because we're fancy. We're fancy like that.
Let's get Pluck Cream. That Neutrogena stuff?
Yes.
That's quite good as well.
Yes, it is.
Because I'm 52 and I still get spots. What the fuck is that all about?
You're just a very greasy man.
Apparently so. I wash myself every day.
Are you using that beef tallow moisturizer on your face?
The beef tallow moisturizer.
They're now making moisturizer for men out of beef tallow.
Beef tallow. Is
Yeah.
that something from a cow?
Yes. Like beef fat.
To moisturize with?
Rendered beef fat, yes.
That can't possibly be good for you.
No, but you can buy it.
No?
Whether it's good for you or not, people are doing it.
No. I got stung after buying that Gwyneth Paltrow candle that was supposed to smell of a fanny. Later, David tries to make a case for a happy house to Shona, thinking that the only reason that they didn't get the tablet earlier is because that they can't afford it, and Jodie was just trying to do the right thing. But Shona won't hear a word of it, and now she stomps up the stairs of discovery. David is left to lament that Shona's never happy unless everyone else is unhappy, which isn't true, and which Jodie sucks a thoughtful tooth about, and I'm like, oh god, they're really going to do this, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
I'd rather they didn't.
Yeah, me too.
I just don't think David would cheat on Shona.
No, especially not with her sister.
Right.
Because
And especially not with her sister, and especially when
Nick,
their child is in the hospital still.
right, with a doer. But there's also the fact that his own brother fairly recently just finished a storyline where he was shagging two sisters.
Yeah.
So we don't need to go down the line and have every member of this family shagging siblings. What's going to happen when it's Sarah's turn?
What's going to happen
Paul
is
is dead and gay.
Jodie's going to try it on and David's going to be shocked and push her away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't actually happen.
Right.
But we're going to get close to it, I think.
Yeah.
And it's just the reasons for David and Shona to fall out just don't seem all that credible,
Well, they're
given
under-
everything that they've been through.
They're both under a lot of stress because of this sick baby,
Sure.
who they rarely mention.
They're at the hospital every day,
Right, yes. But we never see them at the hospital.
apart from all the times that we see them in the pub and at home.
Right, yes. And they don't mention that baby by name, ever. Poor Harper.
Harper, that's it.
Yeah. I
Just a-
remember that because of the whole Will and Harper documentary, not because the doctor that delivered this baby was also named Harper. Mm-hmm. You're talking to me about Ralphie. If ever there was a weird name to give a child on this show, Harper's pretty weird.
Harper's a nice name.
It is a nice name, but it doesn't...
Ralphie's not a nice name.
Ralphie is a nice name.
Ralphie's a horrible name. Who looks at a baby and thinks Ralphie? You may as well call it Keith.
Obviously, the mom and dad in Christmas Story thought it was a beautiful name.
Yeah, for the 1950s, sure. But everything was in black and white then. All right, we'll move on to our final storyline. Sucks to be a Webster then. On Monday, Carl comes into the shop and is served by Summer, who announces that she's worked out that Theo killed Billy. Carl's impressed. She asks Carl if he has any proof, and he says that he'll be happy to get a confession out of Theo, but it's going to cost her some of her bereavement dividend. 10 grand should cover it for Theo's head on a plate. Cheap at half the price. Bernie comes in and Carl leaves. Bernie wants to know what that was all about, and Summer must tell her, or at least tell her some of it, because the next we see, Bernie goes to the Rovers and tells Debbie to have a word with that bloody son of hers, trying to extort money out of Summer for some information about Billy's death.
Okay, so everybody on the street now knows that Carl is Debbie's son.
Yes.
Okay. No, there's not a single person there who doesn't know this.
No, and I think even Kirk knows.
Yes. Well, Kirk knows that Steve and Ben are brothers, so
Yeah.
it's only a matter of time.
What was nice about this, though, was Debbie was suggesting that all the girls go off for a little vacay somewhere.
Yes.
That would be fun,
That would be fun.
even if we're never going to get to see any of it.
Right, yes, because,
ITV.
yeah.
So Debbie calls Carl to meet her, and he's faux outraged that Debbie would believe Bernie over him. He insists it was just a misunderstanding, and Carl had said something like, I bet you'd pay anything to find out what really happened to Billy, something like that. Later, Debbie tells Bernie about this so-called misunderstanding, but Bernie isn't convinced and tells Debbie that she needs to wake up because Carl's been playing her like a fiddle from day one. On Thursday, so Debbie arranges to meet with Carl at home and she challenges him about Summer. He eventually confesses that Billy was murdered and he's known about it for some time, but he refuses to say who it was he heard confess, while there's still a chance that he can get some money out of Summer for it. Debbie is appalled, not just because he's extorting insurance money from a bereaved girl, but because he let her go to jail for killing Billy herself, and she screams at him to get out. Ryan has been in the flat this whole time, and somehow hasn't been able to hear properly what they've been talking about, and when he checks on Debbie after Carl leaves, she's vacant, checked out and staring into space. And she must come round a couple of minutes later and go off to bed exhausted, but Ronnie is fucking furious when he learns about this and the upset Carl is causing. Carl makes another fruitless attempt at getting 10 grand out of Summer and then heads to the pub where Ronnie tracks him down and tells him if he doesn't leave town pronto, Ronnie's going to have to throw him out.
Yeah.
Put those arms to work.
Yes. Ooh la la.
On Friday, Debbie's back at work at the Rape Hotel but ready for a jog with Ryan, despite Ronnie's protests, when Carl comes in, and he's there to apologise and to appreciate what a shitbag he's been recently, but he blames it all on having information on Theo, and Theo, we all now know, is an abuser.
Yes.
And Carl claims to have been scared, and says that he's cleared the air with Summer and given her all the informations. He then throws Ronnie under the bus, revealing the threats that Ronnie made against him, and how they won't work because he's committed to establishing a good relationship with his dear old mum. It's Debbie's turn to be fucking furious now. Fucking furious with Ronnie about this. And Ryan's backing isn't worth anything. And when we next see Ronnie in the pub with Ed and Michael, he's totally in the cunt books and Debbie has thrown him out. Then, in the ginnel, Summer meets up with Carl. I'm like, oh no. She tells him she wants Theo in jail. She won't pay a penny until he is, but once that's confirmed, she will agree to pay him 10 grand. Deal, says Carl. And he leaves. And Summer looking like she's wondering what wheels she's set in motion. And that's how we end this week's episodes.
Yes.
So that was quite exciting, hell, wasn't it?
It was. Oh, poor Debbie, though. That scene where she starts just tearing one off of Carl, you know, and it's like she cannot have strong emotions anymore because it just makes her completely shut down. And that's so sad and heartbreaking.
She can't have strong emotions because of that, but she also can't have regular emotions because her brain won't let it not be amped up to
Right.
to 11 because she's shouting at Ronnie in the middle of the hotel She had that thing last week in the hotel as well, where it
Right.
was just everything was just turned up far too high.
Right, where she was very inappropriate with ladies.
Yeah, really difficult for her. She is getting played like a fiddle, and it seems that she knows it.
Yeah.
But
But there's still some of that maternal guilt that's like, I know he's a dick, but I never bought him that teddy bear for his birthday, sort of thing, you know?
of course,
She's making up for lost time. And she also blames herself for the way that he grew up.
yeah, because his upbringing is what's made him what he is.
Exactly.
Ronnie's mistake here, though, is to tell Carl what he plans on doing. Just do it.
Yeah.
From that Fiona thing from last week that
Yeah.
that you bottled out of because you saw them dancing.
Right.
You know, just
do it.
do it. Don't tell him what you're going to do, because Carl is absolutely going to tell Debbie, and he
Right.
must know that.
Yeah.
But where this leaves us, obviously going into next week, is who's going to kill whom. And
Whomst among us will die.
the runners and riders for offing Carl, I think, are plenty. Who could kill Carl? Well, Ronnie could do it.
Theo could do it.
Theo could do it. Kev could do it. If Abby had been in it a little bit more recently, maybe Abby, but Abby's been elsewhere.
Right, yes. We barely see Abby anymore. Good for her. She needs a break.
Yeah.
Let's see. There's Ronnie, Theo, Ryan, maybe. It may be
If
like,
Ryan does it, it's by accident.
or it's with the group. It's like Ronnie and Ed and Michael and Ryan all got together and beat the crap out of him.
On the Orient Express.
Yes. Or in Clue.
Right. Spoiler alert for both those things. I don't think Carl's getting killed, though.
I think he is leaving, though.
The runners and riders for Theo. George, I guess, could be on that list.
Gary,
Gary's a firm favourite.
firm favorite.
Kit or Sarah.
Summer.
Summer, definitely. And this is where I'm worried about where this is going to go, is that Summer has essentially taken a hit out on Theo.
Theo.
Not to kill him. She's clear that she
Right.
doesn't want him dead. She wants him in jail.
Yeah.
But if he ends up dead and Carol spills the beans to someone like Swain about how Summer wanted rid of Theo, I could see her in trouble.
Yeah, but then that's a he said, she said sort of circumstantial situation. Like no money changed hands.
No,
yet.
but Summer's
Unless
can be
Carl
that way that she admits to it.
Right, unless Carl was like recording her. But again, if he was recording her, she clearly says, I want him in jail.
Carl could be the one that killed Theo.
Yes.
Those two have a feud, but I
Yeah.
think it's a bit
I would
obvious.
like them to kill one another.
I don't think we can have two of them getting killed.
I want a duel where they go 40 paces and then turn and shoot each other.
Gary's a good shout. Gary's finding his feet again as
Manly man.
I guess a horrible person, but horrible for the right reasons this
Right,
time.
yes. I find it very interesting, how Sarah keeps going to Gary about all this Todd stuff, as opposed to going to her boyfriend Kit, who is a policeman and detective,
Yeah,
and the one she should be going to.
right. Wouldn't it be funny if it's Maria that kills him? After all
That's-
that talk.
That's how you solve a problem like Maria, I guess.
I think there's a fair chance that Theo's the one that gets killed.
I think it's either Theo or Megan.
Yes, I agree. Those are my top two.
Yeah.
And I can flip between the two of them.
But again, I will go on record as saying I would like them all killed off, please. Just a bloodbath on the street. Blood running down the cobbles.
I don't want Jodie dead. And honestly, despite the fact that I really do hate her, I don't think I want Maggie dead either. You'd need a character like Maggie. There needs to be
We've got Tracy.
instigators, and
Do we need more than one?
well,
We haven't seen
Tracy
much of
hasn't been
Tracy
instigating
lately.
very much. No,
Yeah.
it's weird that there's potentially 5 people getting killed here, and Tracy isn't a suspect in
Any of
in
them.
killing any of them.
No. I can't think of a single one that she has a bone to pick with.
Maggie's not getting killed. She's far too important. Jodie's not getting killed. Nobody knows enough about her. Megan, Theo, Carol is a very long odd outsider, I think.
Right. Yeah. And I think, and one of the reasons why I think it's going to be either Megan or Theo is those are 2 characters who can't come back from what they've done.
Can't be redeemed, no.
They cannot be redeemed.
It's which one of them does the show think should
Die.
face justice,
And which one
should
faces
die.
justice.
Yeah,
Well, the show would like to kill all villains. Mm-hmm. They keep doing it, and it makes me mad.
I think we get more drama from an extended Megan trial, so that would mean that Megan doesn't get killed. I saw a photograph, though. I don't know if it's a spoiler for next week or not. I assume it is, of Megan being tackled and wrestled to the ground by the witches of Eastwick. Eva, Leanna, and Toya. Toya, although, was just standing in the background. I don't really see either of them. I can't see Eva killing someone.
Not on purpose.
And nobody thinks of Ollie. Ollie's just not in anybody's radar either.
I'm not going to say anything anymore because I very nearly just said something that I shouldn't.
Okay. I've said Megan killed by Maggie all along, so I'm going to stick with it, even though I think, if I'm being honest, I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think it's going to be Theo, and I think if Todd wasn't leaving and not going to be in the show next week, and who knows if he is or he isn't, if Todd is in the show, I can see him maybe accidentally killing Theo.
That wouldn't be very satisfying.
But it wouldn't be satisfying.
No.
It would be satisfying that Todd kills Theo
Right.
briefly,
Yeah.
but then that makes Todd again someone that he
Someone
isn't.
who he's not.
That was the week that was Coronation Street. Then Helen, a good week this week. What was your moment of the week?
Everyone rallying around Todd in the hospital bed.
That was a nice scene, and it was
nice.
light and it was fun.
Right.
It had bed goes up, bed goes down in it.
Right. And, you know, he's the look on his face, like he's finally relaxed. He's finally genuinely smiling because he's surrounded by the people who truly love him.
Mm-hmm.
He feels safe.
He's still a little uneasy though, and he should be,
Right.
because he's been through it.
Yes.
And it takes your nerves a little while to settle. So
Yeah,
this is
sometimes
all
it takes
part of-
years.
This is all part of how Gareth Pierce is doing such a great job playing this, because it's so
Absolutely.
well observed.
Yes.
Yeah, that's our
Moment of the week.
Moment of the week.
your boring moment of the week.
Ben asking every single person in the pub if they want to play darts, and every single person saying no.
Can you explain to me what the fuck Kirk was talking about?
I don't know. What did he say?
He was talking to Lauren about something.
I can't remember. He was... what was he? Because it was weird, because Maggie... That's when Maggie started yelling at her, and she's like, she's with a customer. It's not like she's in the back on her phone or anything. You're yelling at her right in front of a customer who she's chatting to, which is part of her job. No, it's Ben asking Ken if he wants to play darts. And Ken saying, my darting days are long behind me.
Yes, he couldn't hit a cow's arse with a banjo these days. Never mind a dartboard with a dart. That's our...
Boring moment of the week.
Still no Daniel. Where's Daniel been?
Now, Daniel, I think, is another potential
Killer of Megan.
Yeah. But
Because,
he's been out the show for too long.
Eventually he will kill a woman. You know it'll happen.
And we can guarantee she will be blonde.
And wearing a cardigan.
Thank you. You just took the words right out of my mouth.
I know.
Yay!
Well, we tried to ask Twitter what they thought of this week's episodes. I say tried. I did.
Well done.
The results, voting in terms of yay, meh, or zzz as to the quality of this week's show. Zzz, 8.7%. Meh, 8.7%. And yay, 82.6%, which I think is a record.
Wow. That's pretty decent.
Holly says, thought it was a really powerful week. Gareth Pearce was incredible, especially in the police station scenes, very moving. Enjoyed seeing Roy look like an absolute bad man in his hoodie and trackies. A really good week all round for me. Jeff says, Todd escapes Theo. Got to be a yeah. And Anne says, this was a great week. Wednesday was a hard watch, but it was really well done. Mary planning on defending Todd with a mini baseball bat was perfect.
Yes.
We don't let those scores or those opinions sway us though, Helen. So what score are you going to give the show out of 10 this week?
It's 7.5.
8.5 for me this week.
It would be 8 if the monologue hadn't been so clunky.
It would have been a 9 for me if the monologue hadn't been a...
Yeah.
I thought it was a great week.
And again, we're not saying that the information given in the monologue isn't important.
Not at all.
It's just there's a more natural, organic way to do it than somebody standing looking out onto the street from a high window.
Yeah, saying things in voiceover.
Yes.
You just can't keep on doing it that way.
And you know me, I'm not a huge fan of voiceover anyway. Voiceover feels like lazy storytelling to me, no matter who does it. I watched another Terrence Malick movie this week where Christian Bale is like doing voiceover the whole time, and I hated it. Why has Terrence Malick only made one good movie?
Well, like I said, 8.5 out of 10 for me. All right, let's wrap this one up then. This episode was brought to you with thanks to our friends of the podcast. Daisy, French Helen, Pickles, DT, Wendy, Noel, Canadian Helen, Christy, Shandy, English Victoria, Aurora Yvonne, Heather Westerfield, Russell Whiting, Brittany Porter, Laurie Anna, Tina, Leah, Tara J, Fiona B, Canadian Jennifer, Josephine Osinge, Anne Greenwood, Trish R, Sarah Purbrick, Ali Q, Hunker Munker, Darren, the artist formerly known as Seal My Fridge, Pamela, Marge JT, Tom Ambrose, Christopher Anstey, Terry in LA, Joe T, Corrie Dales, Matthew McInerney, Welsh Emma, Matthew S, Rachel B, Uranium Jennifer, Catherine Monteiro, Gary Heatley, Pam but not that one, Una, Amy, Jenny Roll, Aussie Ali,
Oi.
Chris Horrocks, Cameron from Edmonton, Matt Birch, Library Jen, Jack the Marner, David MacArthur, and Saskatchewanian Corina. Whew. Thank you ever so much, folks, for supporting the podcast. We very much appreciate it. If you've ever inhaled CGI smoke, write in to tell us about it. We're the talk of the street at gmail.com, and we're at Corrie Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Threads and Blue Sky, or reach us the old-fashioned way, the talk of the street, PO Box 12, Eaton Rapids, Michigan 48827. Our spoiler show will be available shortly after this one, and in this month's classics we're talking about episodes 2304 and 2305. Get access to this exclusive content by becoming a friend of the podcast. Find all the links at corriepodcast.com and in the description below, and be sure to check out our pop culture sister podcast, The List of Lists.
We are going to record on Sunday.
Thanks for making it to the end of another episode, and we will be back next week with more
Talk of the Street.
Talk of the Street.
Bye.
Cheerio.